Let's say over the years you've managed to collect a couple books. Here's a quick side note for you youngsters out there. These Britannica books is how we actually used to look up information before the internet was invented. So by hanging on to them, I actually have a backup to the internet. Anyway, back on subject. As you can see, these books have a considerable amount of paper exposed to the air. This can be a bit problematic. The amount of household dust that will be attracted to and settle on top of these books will simply amaze you. And since it's paper, it's kind of difficult to dust properly. Wiping it with a cloth will just push the dust into the paper. So I take the books outside and I blow them off with compressed air every year. But that's a minor amount of work compared to this, my library. There are quite literally thousands of books here. So I figured there either has to be an easier way to dust them or to actually keep the dust off of the books. After a couple failed attempts, this is the solution I came up with that actually works. Custom cut plexiglass, or more accurately, a polycarbonate sheet, often called Lexan. Since the Lexan is clear, you can't actually see it when it's installed. Now, when it comes time to dust, no more taking them outside and blowing them off with compressed air. Or, if you're a person that prefers to use a cloth when you're dusting, the Lexan easily pulls out, you wipe it off, and then you push it back in. Some books actually have like a type of fabric book cover. Have you ever tried to get dust out of a fabric? You can see here that a nearly invisible piece of Lexan can be placed on top of the book without diminishing the visual aesthetics of your display. And since you're cutting up Lexan anyway, try considering this application. If you have an indoor water feature like this fountain, they tend to sometimes splash water onto the furniture they're sitting on. This water will cause damage. Cut a piece of Lexan large enough to go underneath your water feature. This will protect your furniture because Lexan just doesn't care if it gets wet. Okay, let's take a look at the process of cutting these covers. I start out with a polycarbonate sheet that's 4 by 8 feet long. The manufacturer is called Lifehack. I've been told it's exactly the same stuff as Lexan. The only difference is Lexan's the name of a manufacturer, not of a product. Anyway, let's see if we can figure out how to cut this stuff. According to the instructions, you need a carbide tip blade with 3 to 5 teeth per inch. The tool I used is a jigsaw. What you want to do is measure out 1 inch on your blade, then count how many teeth are in that inch. According to the instructions, you need 3 to 5 teeth. This blade is well above that, which is actually a good thing. The more teeth you have, the smoother your cut will go. The other factor I took into account was how wide is the blade. Use the widest blade you have available. It makes cutting straight lines easier. Oh, and the reason why I went with a jigsaw instead of another type of saw is a jigsaw cut is the narrowest cut I can make. Cutting the cover out is pretty straightforward. You want to first mark on your sheet how wide your cut is going to be. If you have concern about your skill level at cutting a straight line with a jigsaw, you can use the same straight edge that you're making this mark with as a guide for your jigsaw. While cutting, you want the speed of the blade to be relatively slow. You're looking to prevent heat buildup. Make sure the polycarbonate sheet is supported as close to the line you're cutting along as possible. Then cut slow and steady. Notice that I'm supporting the part that I've already cut to prevent it from hanging and pinching the blade. I've sped up this playback so you don't get bored watching me cut. Now we mark for the width of the bookshelf and cut again. You can now peel off the protective layer on both sides. You're now ready to install your dust cover. Now, all you have to do is do this a couple hundred more times for your library. Again, you'll notice that when they're installed, you barely even see them, especially when you're standing a couple feet away. If you look real close, here's the cover. Anyway, if you have 1 book or 1,000 books, I hope this video helps make your life easier. Thanks for watching.